welcome to Diski Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Keagan Dolly, as I have a feature-focused episode where I zone in on how he's been doing ever since he's returned to the Dstv Premiership. So, with regards then to Keagan Dolly, coming back to South Africa, yeah, there was a lot of noise, considering his return to South Africa and him signing for Kaizer Chiefs. Some felt that he's finished, he's beyond his years, and he's got nothing to offer Kaizer Chiefs. However, 8 games in, he's got 3 goals, he's got 3 assists, and he is looking every bit a well-refined playmaker for this Kaizer Chiefs side. Bear in mind, he also hasn't found that full fitness as of yet, So once the season does progress, maybe we're looking at match week 12, he should be fully fit. And this is a player then who's been doing really, really well for Kaizer Chiefs, as he does occupy the creative playmaker role. And he does assume then responsibility to make things happen for this Kaizer Chiefs side, And when we have a look at Keagan Dolly then, and where he does most of his work. So he does start as a right inverted winger. So oftentimes he would start in vertical zone 5, which is the right wide channel, and he'd always be looking to come into that half space. This is where then he's become well adept at picking out those passes, well adept then at being able to carry the ball well within this half space, draw a few players, and then lay off a very, very good pass. Keagan Dolly is doing exceptionally well within the half space. This is a player who's growing in leaps and bounds, and I'm very happy that he's been able to find his form very early on in the season, and he's proving to be the player that is then carrying Kaizer Chiefs from a creative perspective, and when it comes then to ensuring that he makes things happen for this Kaizer Chiefs side. He's also got an eye for goal. We've seen him score 3 goals, so there's a penalty, but the goals I was most impressed by were the goals against Chippa United, with regards to how then he was able to read the game. So whenever then the game is being instituted and played through the left-hand channel, which is vertical zone 1 and vertical zone 2, what he often does very well is that he's always then able to drift across very well and find those pockets of spaces. And that's what then he was able to do against Chippa United, where he drifted from this half space and found himself in zone 14, and Kama Biliat laid the ball off, and he finished very well. The other goal was him then against the run of play against Chippa United, where it was instituted from deep within the Kaizer Chiefs half. That ball was played through, Keagan Dolly got onto it, and he managed then to curl that ball past the keeper. So this is a player who's doing really, really well when it comes to assuming that playmaking responsibility for Kaizer Chiefs. And the interesting thing to note then, Kaizer Chiefs have really been struggling from a midfield perspective. They haven't really found combinations of play, and their passing game that is instituted from the midfield is at times non-existent, because it's not free-flowing and it's not fluid as well, and they struggle to combine. But whenever Keagan Dolly does look to get onto the ball, he always looks like he can pull a rabbit out the hat for this Kaizer Chiefs side, and that's what's so very important about Keagan Dolly for Kaizer Chiefs with regards to his progress and how well he's been doing. And when you have a look at whenever he does drift into deeper pockets of spaces, and he drifts into there, whenever he does have those runners going beyond him and looking to get in behind the defense, he's always able then to pick out that pass, that 30-40 yard pass in being behind, which then sees players getting in on goal. So Keagan Dolly has been doing absolutely well within the Dstv Premiership ever since he's returned, and I think he's proving a lot of people wrong. And when we have a look at it then from a national team perspective, I think he's actually well poised to actually get the call up for the national team. I say that because the last time out when we were doing duty against Ethiopia, Hugo Broos had called up Pule. And if you have a look at Pule, Pule plays as the playmaker for Orlando Pirates, but he's currently out right now. So he's normally the player who would institute that creative play for Orlando Pirates, especially in the absence of a Loch. And Pule was doing very well. And when you have a look at Pule, they've got very similar characteristics. So Pule then was going to be deployed in the national team as a right inverted wing. You'd start off the right side, looking then to cut in and occupy the half space where he'd look to then do damage. Because when you have a look at the other wing, this is where Hlongwane would start. So Hlongwane would start there and he'd always be looking to come in. So Hugo Broos doesn't really prefer to play with a number 10 who plays through central zone 3, but he prefers a creative player and a playmaker who starts from wide position and then works his way in. And when you're having a look at that and how Hugo Broos loves to institute his game model, then a Keagan Dolly fits very well, because then within the national team he will start out wide and then drift into that half space, and also then at times occupy zone 14 where he's looking to finish those chances which are created, and pop up into the two half spaces where he's looking to assume that playmaking role, because within the national team we're lacking a playmaker, and that's what Keagan Dolly is. And he also starts out wide and looks to come in. So from a qualitative perspective, I believe that he ticks all the boxes for a creative player and as a playmaker for the national team, also considering the fact that he would fit into what Hugo Broos is trying to do. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Disky Talk with Luyolo. At home, do let me know, what do you make of Keagan Dolly's start to life within the Dstv Premiership and his return as well to South Africa? So far, 3 goals, 3 assists in 8 games. That's actually a very phenomenal return wherever you play within the world. And do you guys foresee him getting the national team call up? And how many goals and assists do you foresee him getting this season? So thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Disky Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.